Watch this video and find out what affected the woman who lived next door to the victim, that she decided to take revenge on him. This story is about James Schaeffer. On April 3, 2013, James Schaeffer's wife, Candy Medina, reported him missing and was deeply concerned that he was a loving father and husband. According to the detectives, their 16-year-old son Tyler received a message on his father's cell phone saying that Jimmy owed someone money and had to run. James Schaeffer worked for Diamond Limousine in Delton, Florida, and was last seen boarding an unidentified vehicle on the company's property. Investigators went to a limo company where Jimmy worked part-time. Candy said Jimmy was headed there on April 2. They found Jimmy's car parked outside the store, but a search of the car gave no evidence. Jimmy's boss, Pete Harrington, told investigators nothing unusual happened the day he disappeared. But then limo mechanic John Broch came up and told the investigators that he had accidentally seen Jimmy getting into his car around 3 o'clock in the morning. Broch recounted how someone in a black sedan told Jimmy to get in the car. He claimed to have heard other people in the car. James' missing persons report states that he is about 5 feet 11 inches tall and weighs about 275 pounds. He has brown eyes, brown hair, and a few tattoos. He was last seen wearing work clothes, black shirts, black trousers, and black boots. Candy Medina, who James lived with for 17 years, said she got a text from James saying he had to hide from someone, but he's fine. According to Broch, Jimmy was addicted to gambling and had accumulated a lot of debt. He also admitted that there was a feud between him and Jimmy and that he had threatened to kill Jimmy during an argument a week earlier, but did not know if it was true or not. The case was only opened on 21 April, but James's neighbor, Angela Stoldt, had called the police earlier that day. She reported that she had killed James. The police came to Stoldt's house and took him into custody for further investigation. Stoldt refused to speak, and she was soon taken to a local hospital for psychiatric examination. She was then taken for further questioning. She told investigators that she had not seen James since April 22, but she saw him on April 5. She further informed the investigators that she was the current recipient of James' Social Security disability benefit, and that both she and James had access to the account. Finally, Stoldt said, "You should have come to my house on the first day." She broke down and confessed that she had killed James. She claimed that James had asked her to borrow $2,000 to $4,000 from her father, and that early in the morning of April, Stoldt picked James up from work, that her father would consider giving him money. Stoldt refused to. Stoldt said that James was angry that he always owed money and said, "How does it feel to be lied to, Jimmy?" James replied, "How dare you?" James allegedly threatened to kill her and the children and attacked her to capture her. Stoldt took an ice pick from a box of camping gear in the back seat and punched James in the eye, then took a rope and wrapped it tightly around James' neck. There were handles at each end of the rope, and Stoldt put her foot in each handle and pulled it tightly until James stopped moving. Then she stabbed him in the other eye. Instead, she packed the body parts into a bag and, with the help of her children, threw them into dumpsters and other places in the Volusia district. Investigators confirmed Stoldt's story. She told the police everything she knew and led them to the place where Jimmy's body parts were dumped. In the woods near Austin, the police found bones and body parts in garbage bags that immediately thought of James. They found items that matched the clothes Jimmy was wearing. Assistant State Attorney Hida Trigan said. Stoldt also showed detectives the location at Stanford where Jimmy's cell phone was hidden. According to Stoldt, she regularly went there to insert a battery to give the illusion that Jimmy was still alive. Hours before the murder, Joan bought a bag wrapped around James's head and rubber gloves, indicating preparations for the murder. The prosecution suggested that Stoldt was angry that James constantly borrowed money and overdrawn the general account, and came up with a plan to kill him. Prosecutor Will said she dismembered him and took him to the house she shared with her 2 children. But the scariest thing happened later, where she was cooking in the kitchen. She began to prepare Jimny's remains, but the smoke and smell became unbearable, and she realized that she might be suspect. As a result, Angela Stoldt was found guilty of first-degree murder and will be sentenced to life in prison.